mantra, the incomparable mantra, which removes all suffering and is true, not false. Therefore we proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra, the mantra that says Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parasam, Gate, Bodhisattva.
Having chanted the Heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra, we reverently offer the merit to great benefactor and founder of the doctrine, the original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, to the countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that permeate the myriad worlds, to the eternal three jewels in the 10 directions, and to all teachers of the true Dharma who transmitted the flame, that we may repay their compassionate blessings. We further offer this merit to all the Dharma protecting devas, to the Dharma protecting saints, to the earth spirit of this place, to the temple protecting spirits. What we pray for is flourishing of the true Dharma, peace in the land, harmony among all nations, tranquility within the Sangha, wisdom and prosperity for countless supporters, continual turning of the two wheels. May we with all beings realize the Buddha way. this recitation of the great compassionate heart Dharani to all beings in the 3 worlds and 6 realms, and especially to Henry Arabor, Daisy Harata, Jill, Kathleen Bloomer, Patty Piccolati Wilson, and to all those who have died in natural and human-made disasters, including acts of terrorism, violence, political persecution, and war. May they be serene through the transition we call death. We also dedicate this merit to Dan DeWolf, Biff DeWolf, Cindy, Mike Piccolati, Tony Piccolati, Victor Weiser, Sean Sweeney, Kathy Schuster, Phil Schuster, Kelly Sweeney, Jeanette Stringer, Jesse Springer, Sam Springer, Julie Hollensmeyer, Paula Getchie, Mother Earth, Fasane Sila, Steve Seymour. May the heart of compassion illuminate their lives. We pray that all beings may prosper and all misfortune cease. Kids may exit to the diesel hall. Zazen. opening verse.
Shanae.
Kose.
Oraku.
Oraku.
Ise.
Ise. Kise.
Anyu. Kogan.
Kogan.
Uetsu.
Uetsu.
Lauren.
Lauren.
Shinyu.
Shinyu.
Sokai,
Sokai,
Seigon,
Seigon,
Jikie,
Jikie,
Genpo,
Genpo,
Cat,
Cat,
Satoko,
Satoko,
MJ,
MJ,
Soren,
Soren,
Marlin,
Marlin,
Tojun,
Tojun,
Haley,
Haley,
Cash,
Cash,
Amber,
Amber,
Soren,
Soren,
Kojun,
Kojun,
June,
June,
Christopher,
Christopher,
Liam,
Liam,
Shoko,
Shoko,
Benjamin,
Benjamin,
Logan,
Logan,
Suen,
Suen,
Margie,
Margie,
Levi,
Levi,
Livia,
Yulia,
Jackie,
Jackie,
Giselle,
Giselle,
Jundo,
Jundo,
Teshin,
Teshin,
Jeremy,
Jeremy,
Dylan,
Dylan,
Shuho,
Shuho,
Emma,
Emma,
Jessica,
Jessica,
Michael,
Michael,
Trina,
Trina,
Chris,
Chris,
Vanessa,
Vanessa,
Bruno,
Bruno,
Mariah,
Mariah.
Okay. I don't know if we can fill in these 2 seats here, if that would not be a problem. And I don't know, we don't like this row. It's just a little easier for me, actually. Okay, is everyone all right? If you're in the back and you'd like to take a seat, that's okay. It's all chairs and stuff, so, all right. Okay. So, 2 things. I brought one of my paintings, and the reason that I did, I had 2 reasons that my internet was not working and I couldn't upload the picture, and I'm usually pretty fussy about the picture that I use for me, actually, and I didn't get to do that. And although I love Kuan Yin, is what I asked for as a substitute, I brought my own painting to make up for that feeling of loss. And the other reason is that a lot of my practice comes from my creative life, because that's been so major in my life. And I wanted to share that in a Zen community. And the reason is that the act of looking inward and the spiritual practice makes us much more open to and able to realize imagination and the creative, not necessarily the arts, you don't have to necessarily like the arts, but it makes us more open to creative action that's kind of bound and connected to the spiritual practice of letting go. So that's a little bit of what will come out in this talk. The first thing is that there is a story, and the story is the history of sound, and the history of sound. The history of sound. I don't know, make sure I can see. The history of sound is a story, and it's about a young man who lives in rural Kentucky in a very plain and simple, probably, I don't know if Appalachia is in Kentucky, so I don't want to say that. One of you might know better, but it's very rural, no running water and electricity and what we called in Alaska honeypot for going to the bathroom and this kind of life. And he was very gifted in music, and the music in Appalachia or in this rural area of Kentucky is really a folk kind of music. So it's a music of the people, and it's music like jazz, the jazz movement, in the African American jazz movement and blues movement, and the Harlem Renaissance, which was an explosion of the arts in New York City, and with an oppressed and suffering people in a sense, but in the sense that it's a natural connection to the desire to break into song or make images. So he was brought up in this environment, and he showed a real talent for music, and specifically this kind of music. And the community got together and put together a fund and sent him to a conservatory. In the conservatory, he met a friend and who became a lover for a short while, and the two of them went around to many different communities, very much these more rural type communities. So not your big city of San Francisco, but these rural communities, and collected their music. And the friend actually, after World War II, I think it is, died, and this man went on to have a fabulous career with Gregorian Christian chants and, in Venice, and the best of things you could imagine. Or he lived in England and met a woman, and it was very nice, and she had a home that was as big as this temple. And so there are all the things that we might like or wish for, or some of you might like. And there was nothing wrong with it. They were all good things. But at some point, his mother became ill, and he made the decision, instead of marrying this great gal, and taking a life with her in London, he went back to rural Kentucky, to this place that was very simple, and with this music that was his music. And that's the difference, that this other music was wonderful music. I love Gregorian chants and Christian music, and I love castles, but it wasn't his music. So it's kind of, he went back to something that for him belonged. And he ended up going around himself in honor of this friend and partner that he had, who died actually by suicide. And he went around, I hope you're not going to read the story, because I've kind of ruined it for you. Anyway.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway, you'll still like it if you're interested in it. He made a decision at a kind of an end or mid-end point of his life to continue in honor of his friend, whom he shared this music with, a love of this music with, to collect music from these various communities and put it together into a book about kind of a folk wisdom, or kind of a music that is, all of us have listened to music that we know it's our song, or we know it's a song that somewhere belongs to us. So it's just something to say about the uniqueness of a life, and how we don't always have so much choice in terms of, who we are or where we come from. So that unique quality, and how important that is in some way, that through the practice, or even just through, if you don't have a practice, you'll notice that some things really are yours, and how that connects with emptiness, or the vastness, this Dharmakaya, this no mind or no thing. So that's kind of an overview of the talk. Here they are. Okay. So, spirit journey, sacred journey. Images native, alive, remembered. Who are you? How are you? And how have you come to be? As a child, certain experience obstructed the free flow of images. There was a struggle to bring them out, a struggle which intensified and encouraged their formation. First, I was an artist and began the inner work appropriate to an artist. This formed the basis of coming into spiritual practice. Myself, to touch this core, an open space of intimacy, a life turning toward an inner vibration of who it was I remembered myself to be. A piece of the world, yes, but more as myself. A deeper truth speaking its vision through us. It is personal, but not personal in our usual ways. Archetypal, true. A piece of imagination informing experience. My name is Shanae, and this is my Dharma name. It was given to me by my root teacher, Kyogen Carlson, 25 years ago when I became his formal disciple. It means sacred flower, and it points to the inner calyx, an inner essence of the flower, an invitation to the spiritual quest and divine. And for me, it is a sacred center, surrounded and protected by petals whose beauty and richness create resonance and draw us closer into this center. So these flowers are true to the painting I do, an inner alchemical garden, true to my own experience, to the ability to see into and through the 10,000 things. So it's a certain kind of knowing, and practice too challenges us into a certain kind of knowing. And for some of us, this is more natural than others. But you can be assured that no matter what, it will bring lots of trouble. So I have come to spiritual practice as artist and poet, where imagination permeates a particular way of seeing and feeling. And I came to Dharma Rain Zen Center, and that's up in Portland, Oregon, in 1997. And I had already done a lot of inner work as an artist, as well as leaving home at 17. Yet I was still isolated in self-destructive, emotional, and internal habits of mind. I went to school at Rutgers University, Mason Gross School of the Arts, in the late 1980s, and then did a Master of Fine Arts at the University of Illinois in Carbondale in 1991 to 1994. But before that, and even during that time, there are images, dreams, and stories powerfully pushing from within. As a child prone and suffering long illnesses, ancient wisdom and stories hidden within the mundane facts of a life. Deep within one's own story brings peace and light, attentiveness to the necessity. Deep within the whole story, within its many faces, what is being asked of me? And the circular nature of the Dharma, the roundness and its transformative, or its transparency and translucency, and this transformation is the fact that anywhere you are in the circle, and any being you are, you will be challenged in this way. So I have in my artistic and emotional life a figure who names himself the talebearer. And this relates somewhat to the story because the man had everything that you would want. It must have been hard to say no to something that really seems good and promising, and to be drawn back to something that's highly questionable, and you could lose everything. So I have in my artistic and emotional life a figure who names himself the tale-bearer, and that's Tale, and I've talked about him before, T-A-L-E, and or the tale-bearer, Tail, T-A-I-L. Typically, he is lagging behind. This way, no, that way. He is the last to arrive. Will he paint himself a sage, a demon, an owl, a serpent, or a tree, a leaf, the grass, a flower? Unique, complex, intimate. In a way, he is how we belong. So this tale, and I'll go through it a little bit more. This difficult place that for me has been, yet so difficult is this tale, or should I say tale, T-A-I-L, a troublesome figure that makes my life impossible. And yet, if we allow ourselves, what we might also imagine as wonderful. So it's this twofold aspect of karma and living, enjoyment and what's so problematic. Our story as a repetitive and destructive narrative, the color and activity of the demon and the intruder. And this is habit energy, our sense of problem, our constructed habit self. Our story as events in memory, my perception of how things actually happen. For example, how I remember summer camp, or the memory of an important teacher or friend, the memory of children growing up in destructive families, difficulties or successes in school and or job environments. And this memory includes language and beauty. Noticing how I found my myth and quest. Lastly, our story finds its healing images, unexpectedly appearing out of the vastness. And the vastness is Buddhism, what might be termed emptiness, openness, our capacity to rest, to risk into connection, and it is our sameness with all life forces. So we have our uniqueness, and then we have how, as in emptiness, we are really the same. In an essential sense, there needs be no fear, as nothing is ever born or dies. We change, exchange, are influenced in relation to each other, but nothing can ever be added, extracted, or lost. It is the peace and spaciousness of meditation, and you could call this no mind or unborn, and it is the place before the world is created. Okay, so we have mind, or one mind, when we are in the world and we are one with things, or and then we have this space in meditation that could be termed no mind or unborn or many other epithets and names. This is the quality of meditation and mindfulness that permeates the whole of our life. This vastness, the learning how to recognize and rest peaceably in this abyss, corresponds to faith, a deep faith that the universe is on our side. We learn to let go of destructive patterns and trust an innate wisdom, clarity, and kindness that is who we are. This light, this depth, each moment, continually working within us. And there's every reason to have faith, but in the practice, that's really what we learn. We learn to get ourselves out of the way so that something bigger and new can enter into the picture and inform us. So, the wholeness of an individual life, our relation to other beings and belonging, is dependent on our willingness to love and trust, include our limits and difficulties, to fully appreciate this life and joy. The seeming wrongness of things stimulates and stirs things up, causing us to question. So that life is difficult, even before, when we don't even know anything about a practice, is positive as well. So this same habit energy that is kind of the bane of your existence is also what brings you to the practice, what keeps you with the practice, and what gives vitality, in my experience, to the study of the Dharma and the penetration of the Dharma and meditation. Equanimity, justice, joy, and equality come from a place that is the opposite of fitting in. So they are a matter of our difference, a matter of what is least that becomes the impetus for transformation. And the dilemma is a good in itself, our best treasure. Karma, both personal and collective, as a colorful creative force which our experience of the vastness, without which our experience of the vastness would lose its reason, its substance, its vision and vitality. So there is in Zen something called a koan story, but for this talk I will refer to this more as a poem. This particular poem comes out of a manuscript called The Gateless Gate. And this manuscript is a record of dialogues, questions, and responses between a student and a teacher. In Zen, the student-teacher relationship is paramount. These conversations contain images of an inner substance and hold the power to transform and move us. So we connect to these things. We feel a resonance, at least I feel a resonance with some of them more than others. And that's because the ancestors are like ourselves. Many of them, they came to Zen with much of what we come to Zen with. They weren't there because they were great philosophers. They were there because they were struggling. This poem is the buffalo through a lattice window. It is the story of the tail. It represents one of these serendipitous moments aligning with my own figure and story of the tail, and that's T-A-I-L. It is for me another tale, T-A-L-E, of a tail, T-A-I-L, the quality of the life of the tail, which carries the heart of karma. So Wuzu said, it is like a buffalo jumping through a window. Its head, horns, and forelegs all pass through. Why can't its tail pass through? And that's the koan, and it's from the Gateless Gate, number 38. We are born with the seed of belief buried deep inside us. Over the years, it may go through many different external forms, but it is profoundly personal and yet not consciously chosen. It is inseparable from our angel. That I lived a life underground, in a labyrinth of the netherworld, carried beneath the sea upon the great vessel, the vessel great and broad. Although I have been tangled and bound, this life and marrow begin the vessel, untangles, disengages, and encourages, the vessel great and broad, to hold, to carry all moods, all thoughts, all beings and things. Another within us is he who teaches and transforms, then welcomes the new time. We change our attitude toward each other and learn to love more freely and completely. Drawn down, drawn back, the vessel draws me down and back. This is how we become a raft for others. We turn toward difficult and uncomfortable experiences and we stay, okay, and we make the effort to be with that experience, and that's direct experience if you stay and you feel that discomfort. We let things shatter and then fall apart. We notice, what is so difficult for me, and then we drop down and rest, and amazingly, joy comes softly. This is how we learn about ourselves and develop empathy for others. We take the initiative, prepare the soil, know when and how to wait, bold enough to enter where we are. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this is damn difficult to do. So, if you're wondering about it. So really, you can sweat blood because we have all this conditioning, layer and layer of conditioning, and we're born into the world. And without asking me, I'm here with these parents and this school, and sometimes it works and it doesn't. So something bothers me, and everything in me either wants to push it away and not look, or think about it and figure it out. And there's nothing really wrong with this, except that nothing moves forward if you take that route. So it's up to you. And there's something very real about karma, and it can be equated to evolution. And you don't want to fool with evolution. So, somehow this thing will keep knocking until you face it and, are willing to look squarely at it. But if I look classy, I do these talks, and so I'm really looking at this, and it's really difficult because, but, you know what I mean? So to just stay, and you notice it, and once you notice it, you're back in direct experience, and then you just drop down, or whatever you have to be doing. But let's say we're in meditation, and you just drop down, and you enter into the actual experience of whatever is troubling and bothering you. So you stay close to the klesha, or the habit energy, and you just do actually nothing. Whereas nothing is you can do. You just stay. And if you can't, okay, then you just work at the practice is to work to learn to get enough strength to do that. So, the Dharma is ultimately simple. It's ridiculous how simple it is, but we are not simple. And so we need all of these studies and sutras and practices in order to disengage so much that is a part of our lives that is good and rich and interesting, but we really want it to be productive, and we want it to work for us, and we want to give this lovely world and universe a chance to speak to us, which won't happen if we're not willing to be with the actual person that I am, what's actually happening to me. Is everybody okay? Good. In ancient oral traditions, the poet worked with images that were given, formulas expressed as living and active memory, following an inner directive, living close to the inner landscape, promised in conversation to root and the folk. What you discover in your dreams, what washes ashore from the depth of a thick salt sea. There is beauty in the Dharma. There is beauty within our daily life. And there's beauty in all the very difficult stuff that comes up for us. Or any of it, I'm stressing that because I usually find that that's the place I'm least willing. But it could be anything. It could be, clinging to good things as easily as not wanting to be with negative things. So this beauty permeates the whole of our lives as goddess, world, and beast. Vastness like sameness, the uniqueness of our difference like a ghost language, the ancestors and our dreams. Time and place, each moment as the whole of who we are. So we are given each moment another opportunity. This can sound like the vague imaginings of some mad person, but it is quite real. I actually did spend a good deal of my life suffering underneath and unable to get out. And this actually is our ancestors speak to us through their poems, personal struggles, and imaginings out of the past memory, as the past of our family and friends, the past of intimate possibility, the past of people and things who we might not even know. So lots of things that have made us the being that we are that we can't possibly remember or account for. And they speak through ghosts and dreams, in conversation with each other, in relation to us and one another, and they help and heal and urge us on. meet events and circumstance without the censor. So we rest in space before the creation of the world. So that meditative space is before we enter into right and wrong and good and bad and all of the things that we usually spend time thinking about or work being with. It is where life and world come together. Never who or, and it is never who and how we are that is the problem, but our opinions of who and how we are. So the self, the one that's the small self, or it isn't even the small self, because the small self also is a good little worker. You know, this habit energy is really made up of my sense of problem, my opinions about who I am and how I am, my opinions of how this other person is and how they are, my opinions about the world. That's where the self is created. Once you let go of that, there really is nobody there. And maybe, I don't know, we seem to like to fill this open space, this gap with this kind of attitude. It is our opinions of ourselves, of others, and our world, which are the cause of so much dissension. Gilgan Carlson, my root teacher, would speak to being ordained to your life. And at the time it resonated, but it didn't mean that much to me. As it happened, it is a wholly natural part of who I am. And I was just very connected to this from the beginning. But if you're not, that's a good problem too. So whichever way you enter, the light is there, it's available, the universe is there. As it happened, it is a wholly natural part of who I am. A word, a sentence, a reminder is enough. Facing adversity with the same vigor and care as privilege and ease. A constant practice as more subtle aspects of our disapproval of reality are revealed. In a deep sense, errors are events which happen, potent and creative. Maybe they need to happen. What we can or cannot do at times is not a matter of control. Like the deity or the bodhisattva, she who hears the cries of the world, or the presence of trees, grasses, the owl or deer, older and great forces shape this life, the landscape and cosmos. So an aspect of our story which is inviolate, which is given and not a self, what we are made of, not permanent nor of our own choosing. We relax with life as we are. In these moments of great uncertainty, of the shattering and falling away, moments when we truly don't know, yet it is never a problem or wrong. You are you. You are right here. No matter what is happening, no other life will suffice. And the Avatamsaka Huayan is a sutra I worked with and studied. I come back to it time and again in crucial ways. How change fosters imagination. How mind is feelings of inadequacy, shame, fear, worry. Surely it is all over and all is lost. It is one and the same with the worst or best person in the world. One and the same with sky, moon, stars, dark and depth illuminated. And mind is, everything is mind, but yet mind is not anything at all. Nothing. We learn how to not to get lost in the trivial, in the second-hand concerns of our all too predictable habit energy. We learn slowly with diligence and care to trust, develop sufficient skill and muscle to notice. We need to notice where we get caught. Once we notice it, it automatically is back to what is basic, and we just stay with our experience, whatever it is. And it's best not to do anything. We let it work itself out on its own. Okay, so all our meddling is what we work and practice to not do, and just to trust. Develop sufficient skill and muscle to notice and then return. So you return, to this place beneath the belly. You return there and you trust this fundamental basis of your life, to take care. Sutras are living documents alive with stories of ancestors and of Buddha. Stories which enter and find their lives through us. The Huayan is of Chinese origin. It is a document of the 7th century, somewhat philosophical, created through the efforts of 6 Huayan patriarchs. The Avatamsaka is the original text, a basis of Chinese Huayan. It is Indian, composed in stages between the 1st and 4th century BC, and probably of oral transmission, which makes a difference because it is of the land emerging to find its identity in a particular time and place. It is an expression of the people, and that's something that I'm really interested in because the artwork I do comes from that root. The many voices of a world which speaks back to us through many hands. And the Avatamsaka can be equated to a fabulous visual poem. The Huayan universe permits the spirit of undoing, simple like all stories, a transparent basis, and permissive of any form. Deities and other worldly beings are very much a part of the Huayan universe. So not getting in the way, not getting in their way, to see with clarity how we can feel too responsible, believe we carry the burden of the whole world on our shoulders, and therefore get in our own way. And Master Yun Men said, better to have nothing than something good. And a good mantra whenever you're grasping. And the Avatamsaka is about being oneself. And all I need to do is follow. We live in a secular world, and it's a very, very secular world, not very much traditional wisdom out there, which obtrudes and can function as a block for our best opportunities. Reading early Chinese poetry, poets who lived by the sides of mountains, retained their independence as poets and intellectuals. Therefore, they practiced Buddhism as lay hermits, at times exiled individuals who were not monks. Yet they did not leave the secular world and felt much concern for the fate of nature and the world. It is said that it was the structure of the Chinese language, the pictographs, and a simple, spacious grammatic structure that provided threads of enlightened insight. So this was from a traditional culture, and even though it was a difficult culture filled with wars and being exiled and all kinds of problems, something of the spiritual nature was lodged in the language and just acted intuitively, affecting these poets and the people who listened and worked in the culture. So this light and realization seeped into their poems. It should be noted that the language of pictures is sensory and immediate. So it's very different than alphabetic language, which is more abstract and a step removed. So it's a picture, if you saying house, well, it's a house. So we kind of know right away. So the Huayan literature celebrates the image of an infinitely reflecting, interrelated nature of a cosmos. It is an ancient Vedic symbol, the jewel net of Indra, the jewel in each node of the net, each dharma, each being, a node in the net. In the heavenly realm of the great god Indra is a vast net, hung by some cunning artificer in such a manner that it stretches infinitely in all directions. In accordance with the extravagant tastes of deities, the artificer has hung a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net. Since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hang the jewels glittering like stars of the first magnitude that are a wonderful sight to behold. If we examine any one of these jewels closely, we will discover that within each polished surface, all of the jewels reflected in this one jewel also reflect every other jewel. So there is an infinite reflecting process occurring. And the Avatamsaka is a vessel of wonder, an abundance integral to imperfection and loss. I have lived a life that is solitary, which is my natural bent. As a working artist, painting and writing entail many hours alone. An aspect of my particular story is to have suffered considerable isolation. It has been good to grapple with the dense and sprawling nature of the Avatamsaka text, thousands of pages of daunting practices and imagery, to find my own way, to make my entry into the community complete and actual. So each one of us that works through the Dharma, it's always different, and it always comes through differently, and there's always something different to say and to offer. We remember to be curious. Do that. Oh, no. Okay, it is, yeah. How does an experience of the empty nature of the self, the empty nature of all dharmas, bring us into the world? How does something empty foster seeds of compassion? And what is purified, washed out in the shadows? Impossible problems, predicaments, as well as places where I am least able. The very nature of boredom, inertia, the humdrum, are potentially creative and a treasure. The very nature of awakening, what inspires and brings energy to practice, both difficult and seeming inconsequential things, ask not to be set aside or left behind. Feelings of anger, struggling with addiction, doubts and feelings of inadequacy, sickness, death, and growing old, the hesitation and wrong turns, the repetition, mundane and daily tasks, feelings of elation and well-being inherent in a creative and vital life are interesting and worthy of care and investigation. And I worked in healthcare for many years, where administrators and supervisors were very intolerant of mistakes. And if we are to have gracious and honest relationships, if we take the risk inherent in giving good care, then mistakes are part of the game. And the simplicity of the practice, again, is to notice, acknowledge, and to name. This is something that's hard for me, this feeling that most probably I don't like. We remember to be curious and when needed to wait. We change our relationship to suffering, to meet whatever arises. There is potential for great happiness, but no guarantees our living will be as we would like it to be. There is a greater form of justice than getting what we want, or even in a conventional sense, getting what seems fair and good. That's not to say there's nothing we can do, or that nothing positive should come our way. Yet in this way, we do nothing. We notice. We then rest and enjoy, because joy comes softly, and it really comes, a true joy comes when we're willing to stay, when we're willing to experience the life that we are in all its different seasons and machinations. In practice, we are true to vocation, acting through vow and the bodhisattva path. The power within koan stories, sutras, folk, and fairy tales are empowered by you and I, but we rest in the vastness, slip into darkness, into death or forgetting. Our stumbling and stuttering is the way. Be a person here. Stand by the river, invoke the owls, invoke winter, then spring. Let any season that wants to come here make its own call. Moment by moment, things as they are. Where are we going? Nowhere but here. So that's my talk for today. I'm afraid to look at the time, but I think I'm okay. I didn't mean, but I don't know. You know, we try here. It's such a difficult subject for us, you know, this self, you know, so complex and filled with all different layers and levels and yes and no. And so questions, I can take a few questions.
Janae,
Yes.
can you say more about, I can't see it very well from here, your painting, and you use a lot of serpents
Yeah.
in your imagery, and I don't know if you want to speak to that. And we have the one up there
I know.
on the altar.
That's how Abbot Edjo and I connect somehow. But serpents they just came up actually, and they've been with me always. So they are this kind of open, original, empty place because serpents are a really primal life form, and they're cold-blooded actually, and they don't have that much development, you know, like other mammals and birds and us, of course. So, but for me, it's very magic, and it's filled with all kinds of energy and image, and you know, and that's just how I work. And part of what I share, you know, other ways of being are okay as well. So that's my serpents, and they're everywhere, you know, and I didn't mean for that. I didn't plan it that way. That's what I mean. It just comes up. So it's kind of something the universe brings, you know, and being an artist, you know, that's so important, this creative energy, and which used to be connected, you know, like a vessel, you know, this serpent holds for me much of what, you know, I can't in some way hold for myself, what I would make a mess of, I guess, if I didn't have these images, if I didn't have meditation, if I didn't have friends in the Dharma, if I didn't have a garden, so many things. So, you know, so a sense of gratitude. I don't want to make a symbolism because it really isn't that. It doesn't mean this, you know, it's always alive and active in the same way that our lives are moment by moment alive and active. But it does have a particular sense for me when I bring them up and paint them.
Did I interrupt you?
No, I can't see because it's light.
I remember that.
Now you know for yourselves, yes. We want to know for ourselves.
Well, anyway, this is sort of a hard question. I've had the privilege of knowing other artists, writers in my life. I just finished reading a novel that a friend of mine wrote. She published one. And this, of course, was to give her feedback, which I haven't done yet. So it's my experience that anyone, seeing my friend's work or reading my friend's work, that it is very difficult to give honest feedback. There's an enormous, and I really am sympathetic with this. I'm sure I experience it also, if somebody reads something I wrote, to be neutral about that feedback and take it as help to me, especially if I'm asked for it. So how is this that the artist, because what the artist produces, in my experience, is very important to them, essential, you know, as you so eloquently expressed. So how do we work with this within the Dharma and not have enormous attachment?
You know, I think attachment is when I have a negative idea about myself. I wake up and I have this bad opinion about myself. And I feel that as this self that is attached. And it could come that, oh, I've got it. That can be an attachment. It could be that, my life is not, I don't see eating breakfast every morning as humdrum or boring. I kind of enjoy it. What should I have? And oatmeal, and, you know what I mean? And I'm going to put strawberries in. So any of those things, they can be a source of attachment. Why should I have to do this? I have to write this check, and she's asking on and on and on. So that to me is attachment. It is these things where I know I'm caught. And through the practice, you want to acknowledge and identify that place. And that's the habit self. And that's where I have found my practice, is where I know I'm caught, where I know I'm in trouble. And even now, where it is so small, but still pretty potent and could cause trouble if I allowed it. I have all these practices that have helped me. Don't go there, okay? So to strengthen, and so that I don't run like a maniac, whatever your habit is, whichever way you go, out, acting out, or pushing away, or, whatever you do. So that to me is attachment.
Okay.
And I talked in the beginning about all these layers of self. So there is the self of that habit energy, and I don't know why, but somewhere we decided that, or it was decided, and it's an endless loop that is there and causes trouble. And then there's memory of things that actually happen. So that's another aspect of our lives. Friends, when I was a kid. So that's kind of a self in a manifest way, but I don't see it as attached unless the house is for sale and I won't let it go, without charging this much, and the other person, no one will pay, and then I'm, that kind of thing. But just that I love something is fine. And then there is beauty. And I just speak of my own particular beauty as that the beauty of the world, the beauty of images, the beauty of, dream images, or the beauty of connection with someone I really care about, how good that feels. Music, coming to the Zen Center, and I like to play certain music, and I put up the volume, and I especially enjoy it, and so I like that. So this kind of beauty, is another way. And all of these things, nothing is excluded, so I don't see that as attached. And then there's also the vastness and the sameness where there's nothing, and so that's certainly not attached. The problem with artists today is that the arts are not given. And if you go through the Renaissance or you go through Chinese landscapes, images are given. And for artists today, it's pretty individual. And so some of it is good and some of it's damn not good. And then I have my opinions. So, but the images to me are just a piece of who I am and a good thing. So it could be other, it's not permanent, but it's part of a manifest. The arts are a manifest self, kind of like suchness in a way. So I don't see that as attached. Although, I don't know, maybe you'll all have a fire with my images, but I'll be gone, so I won't have to think about it. Other than that, it has served me. It has served me, it has been valuable and important to my life. So even if no one likes it, it has been meaningful to me. So
Thank you.
that answer your question?
In all honesty, but I think it's a long conversation. It's probably not answerable, and maybe, how I framed it may not be clear, but everything you said was wonderful, so thank you.
Anyone else have questions?
Sinead?
Yeah.
And I remember in my 20s one time when I was early to Zazen practice, writing something like, it felt like I realized my life had just been a painting that had been painted over multiple times, and Zazen was the first time I felt like some ability to see through the layers of paint to the canvas, and to have an appreciation for what that canvas is, and also kind of a little bit of fear about looking at a blank canvas.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you have any, I haven't thought about that in a long time, but I'm wondering if you have any reflections about it.
Yeah, well, you know, living day to day is to create stories, but when we don't know the story is a story, and so the opening is when we see more objectively, you know, what is a story and what's not, you know, what is true to me and true in the world, and what is not is just a story. So my paintings are a story, and they are my stories, and they're true for me, and they have a truth of value like a myth. But you know, it's if you have these ideas in your world, in your life, and you're painting these ideas that are not productive or not so helpful, then you want to know that that's not true and that's not objective. You know what I mean? It's a story. All of it is imagination. All of it is, everything actually is mind and imagination. But some of it is like the three natures. Some of it is closer to truth than others. The tree is out there, it's empty, but it is a tree. We can see it's a tree. Okay, we know that it's a manifest reality, but it still has an unreality. And in Buddhism, the most reality is the vastness, or the aliveness of being with nothing at all. And I can say that again from experience, and it's not good enough to just listen. You have to apply this, you know, apply this to your daily life, and it's available all the time. On your way home, it will be available, an opportunity to try some of the things that not just me, but all of us are saying. You know, the Dharma is saying week after week after week. So if you don't try it, you can't know it for yourself. And yeah, that works. It's true. You know, so anyone else?
Shanae,
Yeah.
I feel like over the years I've developed quite a bit of faith in like the process of Zazen, sort of as you've described it, but I haven't seen like a concomitant rise in like faith in myself, or any sort of like confidence or sense of that I'm kind of doing the right thing. Is that part of this whole thing, or is it just more about trusting the process?
Well, it is about trusting the process, and it is part of the whole thing, but you're not going to really ever know whether you're doing the right thing. And the only thing that I have found that, I mean, we work every day. I know if I go outside that the steps are going to be there, and my car is usually outside, and I remember how to drive, okay? So it's okay to know, you know, these things, but in truth, I have found when I'm in a space that I'm lost, and that's a good space to be, that is only staying with the experience of being lost and waiting and trusting the universe or the Dharma or this unborn place, and stay and wait that it turns around. And I know, but it is not anything that I know. I mean, I don't know, oh, you should do this, you know, but something about me is stable, a flexible stability, and able to go forward with my life. So, you know, that feeling of uncertainty, and it's knowing this is a rich place to be. And the sense of being lost is also a good place to be. You know, it means things are possible. You know, it means something, you know, something new can happen, or something rich and new, and or even something difficult. And, you know, there's no, you know, there's no guarantees, you know, and you can't control it, you know, you just have to trust. So all of it is okay, but the stability always comes, you know. Difficult and bad things happen, and they just do, they just come out. And it's fine. There's as much richness and learning and creative energy in that as winning the lottery, and or buying a new car, and all of these things will have their problems. I mean, you buy a new car and then somebody scratches it. That's the end of that, or, difficult. You see what I mean? So everything has its other side. There's no, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And has that trust for you extended to yourself? Do you trust yourself?
Do I trust myself? I trust the Dharma. I trust my practice. That's what I trust. I'm still would be capable of, making wrong turns, and that's okay too. And then you just practice with the wrong turn. But I trust the Dharma, and I trust the practice, and I trust. It's hard to say the world, but I trust that the world and the universe is basically a good place. We're a part of it, so, a lot of the things we think are against us, it's just what we don't like. Well, I don't want to die and be sick. But that's not, you know what I mean? But that's not necessarily wrong or bad, or, you see what I mean? In my opinion, maybe, but it isn't really, You see what I mean?
Yeah, thank you so much.
And, okay, well, Edjo's not here, so we can be bad if anyone has one more.
May?
Yes.
I feel like here at the temple, we have this amazing group of visual artists. And there's a lot of talk about writing and language also. And I'm just wondering if there are any I'm trying to think of the word, any examples that you can share from teachings or ancestors that relate to dance and dancers. And if that doesn't bring up something for you, maybe there is somebody in the Sangha who has one who could speak with me too, because it's something that I try to listen for, but I feel like I don't hear a lot about that expression through movement of the body, and I'm just wondering if that brings up.
There is a dancer who practices, Denise Fujiwara. You can look her up. And her practice is very closely related to dance and the movement of dance. But it wouldn't really be different than the visual arts, or than the visual arts and with writing, and just the spontaneity of how we are affected and how that opens within us would be the same. Or gestures. Abbot Edjo uses the mudras, and that I have experienced. Or even the doshi can be close to the experience of dance. You could look at it that way. The rituals have this kind of sense of choreography and dance. And the thing about any of these things is because there are steps and things you need to do, your mind doesn't have as much room to, to come up with, to spin around or come up with unnecessary stories. So it kind of keeps you on track. So there's a truth to that. So that's kind of, again, like suchness, being connected to the manifest world, as opposed to in Zazen, just darkness and nothing. Okay.
Are there any announcements?
I have an announcement. I was Kenzo today, and everyone please join us for snacks out under the grape arbor just after we are done.
My name's Cash. This coming Friday, we have the No Talent Show. It starts at 7, and please get here at 6:45 if you want to sign up. So we have time to add you to the list of talented or non-talented folks.
I have a couple of announcements. One of them is that the Forest Walk, so far as I know, unless the weather really changes, will continue. It's scheduled currently for Tuesday the 18th, so a little over a week away. That's from 6 to 8:30. I believe it's in the last week's digest to just contact me if you want to sign up. So, or you can just come talk to me either way. So that's one thing that's happening. And the second thing is just a gentle reminder to please, if you bring your phones into the hall, to make sure they are silenced. So it's just a courtesy to everyone else, especially during Zazen.
I have an announcement. I was asked to do the gratitude talk today, so I made a list of 687 things I was grateful for, and I'm just going to do 3 of them. One of them is I am very grateful for the children being here. I think it adds a vitality and a liveliness to our morning that we wouldn't have without them. The second thing is I'm grateful for the parents who are willing to get their kids up and ready to come here. I know that a pajama morning might sound really nice, and I appreciate the efforts that the parents make in bringing the children here. And the third thing is that I appreciate the Sangha itself and the leadership of the temple for prioritizing the children's program, and which brings us to the part where it costs Donna to do that. So that's my Donna talk. Okay, thank you.
I have a brief request to just leave all of the chairs and cushions in place after we close today. Thank you so much.
I have a small affordable housing nonprofit that has an affordable home for sale not far from here. It's just about, it's a small 1-bedroom house for sale for around $155,000. If you earn between $50,000 to $70,000, you would qualify. It's made affordable through funds from the city of Eugene. If you know of it yourself or anyone that might be interested, feel free to come see me after. Thank you.
I don't know if anyone was designated to make the Donna announcement.
I did. I just did that.
What?
I just did that.
Oh, you did that. Okay, sorry.